Chapter 1. Black Wind. The feast at the fairies' song had thankfully gone largely without mishap, lasting until well into the night, with me waking up the next morning with a terrible hangover. Adventurers, both those who had been in the industry longer than me and those who had joined only recently, had approached me one after another to pour drinks of celebration. As the star of the feast, I couldn't refuse any of them, and it became an endless loop of me draining my cup only to have it refilled soon afterwards. To think that I'd get a hangover even in another world. As for how my merry band of comrades had fared. In Ephial's case, although she was 16 years old and thus legally of age to drink, she was quite weak to alcohol. From start to finish, she drank only juice, all while tending to me throughout the feast. The next morning, it was her devoted nursing that enabled me to make a speedy recovery. Gerard, in contrast, had thrown back mugs and mugs of alcohol without a care in the world. He must have had a lot more than me, but apparently, he wasn't capable of getting drunk. When I went down to the tavern the next morning, I found him drinking again. Life truly was unfair. Having struck up a friendship with Old San, Gerard had a blast trading stories of heroism and other interesting episodes from their pasts. Considering the pair featured one of Parth's strongest adventurers and a member of the party that had subjugated a demon the other day. All the young adventurers had flocked over to listen in, enraptured. The biggest surprise had been Sarah. She became extremely clingy when drunk, and was the kind of drinker who couldn't stop despite having almost no tolerance at all. At the start of the feast, she had rushed to my side, loudly declaring, "I'll pour for you." Then she'd awkwardly and carefully poured me a cup. That was fine. However, having had almost no experience with alcohol, she grew curious about it after seeing me down it with such gusto. So I asked her, "Want to try some?" and poured her a bit. One sip and her face promptly turned red, her slanted ruby-red eyes glazed over, and, well, the rest is easily imagined. To my surprise, Melfina turned out to be the most troublesome member of the party. Due to not having been able to join the feast, she turned a bit sulky. "Come on, you're a goddess, don't be sulking about something like that." "I am not sulking. I've been silent only because I've been very busy wondering when it is that you'll finally be able to summon me. Didn't we go over this the other day? About how I still wouldn't have enough even if I bumped energy, the skill that boosts max MP, to rank S, even though my current max MP is already over 2000? Oh, oops. What? I'd actually forgotten about this, but the MP needed to summon those with a class related to the gods is several dozen times more expensive than summoning anything else. So, hey, wanna hear this great idea I have? How about you quit your job? I'm starting to think I won't ever have enough MP to actually summon you. Honestly, I'm not entirely against the idea, but, guess I don't really have a choice. You really are going to quit your job? Oh, no, I'm going to use an artificial body. Am I imagining it or did she just say something completely off the wall again? It's actually not that rare for gods and goddesses to descend to the mortal world for a bit of a breather. And when we do, we make an artificial body based on ourselves. Possessing that body allows us to go out and about while hiding who we really are. Naturally, our abilities are severely limited while in this state, but the appearance will be exactly the same, so you can feel free to fall in love with me at first sight once again. I'm not sure that "feel free" is the right phrase to use there, but never mind. So, if you do that, then the amount of MP needed to summon you would go down drastically? I can't say for certain. There is no precedent for something like this. No one with the summoning skill has tried to call down a deity before. Naturally, I'll need to make adjustments with that in mind, and then the skills. Melfina? Honey, I'm taking some time off. Wait, again? I need to make some adjustments to the body that I'll be using. If all goes well, you will soon be able to summon me without a problem. There's no time like the present. Ciao. And with that, Melfina once again left the network. How long is she going to be gone for this time? There was nothing I could do but pray for all those adjustments, whatever they were, to be done soon. Melfina's plans aside, a total of 3 days had passed since the feast, and the rest of us were currently gathered in my dedicated workshop within the guild. The agenda for the day's assembly was of paramount importance. Indeed, it was none other than, how about we get this new equipment unveiling party underway? I did my best with the sewing. The unveiling and handing out of various pieces of equipment for our party members. Thanks to the levels that Ephil and I had gained from the battle with Victor, both of us had finally attained rank S in our skills of sewing and smithing, respectively. Until then, no matter how hard we tried, we'd only been able to make items up to rank A. Now, however, we finally had the ability to create the highest ranking equipment in this world. My king, I am beside myself with impatience. So my battle gear is finished too? Thanks to my skill increasing to rank S. The amount of time required to make each and every piece of equipment had decreased dramatically, and within only 3 days, I had managed to make everything that each member of my party needed. In fact, I was now feeling like I could make absolutely anything I wanted to, as long as I had the necessary materials. Let's start with our newest member, Sarah, who's experiencing one of our unveiling parties for the first time today. I was in charge of your weapons, while Ephil handled the protective gear. Just as requested, I used Victor's carapace to make you a pair of gauntlets. It might be a bit late to ask, but, you sure about this? 100%. It was my first time making equipment for Sarah, so I had asked her if she had anything particular in mind. Honoring her request, I then used the piece of Victor's carapace that we had brought back as proof of subjugation to make something that a pugilist would use. But now that the time had come to actually hand it to her, I found myself hesitating slightly. Are demons okay with using parts of someone of the same race, someone they'd been close to, no less, in such a manner? Sarah repeated herself, elaborating slightly in a firm tone. It will feel like Victor is lending me his strength whenever I use it. This is her wish, so let's respect it. All right then. The pair together is named Erendite. Try them out and let me know how they feel. As soon as I handed them to her, Sarah looked entirely infatuated with the black coloring and gold trim that spanned from fist to elbow. This was a rank S item that, thanks to the special properties of Victor's carapace, boasted incredible toughness paired with such high flexibility that it wouldn't interfere at all with even the most detailed of finger movements. And this is from me. I hope that the design is to your liking. I had also asked Sarah for her input regarding her outfit, but I ran into an unexpected wall there. It seemed Sarah herself did not know what she liked. Having been locked up in a castle for her entire life, everything had been prepared for her, including her clothing, so she had never had to choose for herself. To help her out, I had uploaded the designs for every type of clothing I knew of to the follower network, and had her pick out one from among them. That said, the quantity of clothing designs that I'd seen while living in Japan for 23 years was rather staggering. Sarah going through all the options ended up taking more time than it took Ephil to actually make it. It was only 2 days later that Sarah had finally exclaimed, "This one. I like this one." "Oh, you've made your choice? Which one is it?" "Oh, military, huh. Make it black, please. I want to match with everyone." In the end, Sarah had settled on a military uniform. There was no outfit more suitable to do battle in, and with Sarah's beauty and perfect curves, it was a choice that would suit her very well. The design aside, black again, is it? Should we just go ahead and make that our theme color? My exchange with her was conveyed to Ephil, who then came up with the outfit she was now handing to Sarah. This outfit's name is Queen's Terror. I'm terribly sorry, but I'm unable to change the name. Oh, I get you so well, Ephil. After all, the item's name is determined all by itself right after you finish it, right? And now you're worried about Sarah being offended by the seemingly negative-sounding name? But you can rest easy on that front. What's wrong with it? Queen's Terror. I like it. Sounds really cool. Eh? Really? Thank you, for liking it. Sarah was smack dab in the middle of a chuny phase. My king, what about me? What do I get? Unable to hold himself back any longer, Gerard interrupted the conversation. Hold on, just hold on. It's not like it's going to run away. Thanks to his evolution, Gerard had attained a new unique skill. Self-modification. This was an incredible skill that not only granted him the ability to assimilate new equipment, but would also boost any gear acquired in this manner up one rank. It was thanks to this skill that Dreadnought was buffed even further. However, equipment that had been assimilated could not be removed, and assimilating a new piece of equipment into an occupied slot would cause the previous item in that slot to disappear forever. In short, it was not possible to simply swap items around at will. I've made you a new greatsword this time. I modeled it carefully based on the one you're currently using, so you should get used to it in no time. Interesting. Even the ornamental decoration looks the same. I can't tell the difference between the two. Just as I told Sarah, try it out and let me know how it feels. I assure you, this is an honest-to-goddess rank S weapon. I had made the demonic sword. Dainsleif, by first selecting the most powerful cursed weapon from Clotho's storage, purifying it with the most powerful white magic spell I was capable of, and then reforging it into a greatsword. Before the purification, there had been red lines crawling all over the surface of the blade, pulsing like blood vessels. Now, however, they were all gone, leaving behind a jet-black surface so clear and pleasing to the eye that it almost seemed to be bathed in a dark light. So what did you two make for yourselves? I got a new robe and a pair of gauntlets, and Ephil got a new bow. You know what, just look forward to checking them out during our next fight. Sarah voiced her displeasure loud and clear, but I was in no state to pay her any mind. Although the smithing skill had indeed helped to significantly speed up the process, I'd still had to pull consecutive all-nighters to finish everything in such a short period of time. With the bare minimum of explanation over, I couldn't wait to dive straight into bed. I shall accompany you. Clearly, Ephil was in the same state as me. In that case, then me too. Wait, don't leave me behind. Sarah dashed out of the workshop, leaving Gerard and Clotho alone. It appears that Princess has another rival, don't you think, Clotho? The slime quivered slightly in response. Hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond, hollow diamond. Clack, clack, clack. With the sound of our wagon's wheels rattling in the background, I passed my eyes over the page of the open book that was being held out to me. Ephil sat beside me, currently doing her best to get through it word by word. Boss, don't you get sick trying to read a book while on the road? We're used to traveling. This amount of lurching isn't enough to make us feel anything. Whoa, guess adventurers really are a cut above the rest of us folks. It was considerate of our driver to make sure that we were okay, but neither Ephil nor I were prone to motion sickness. During our battles, we moved even faster and much more erratically. Master, this part. You apply the same pronunciation technique we just discussed. Currently, we were heading from Parth to Tarai, the country of water, by covered wagon. We had chosen Tarai mainly because of my voracious need for rice. It isn't easy for someone in modern Japan who's never left the country before to understand. But after eating only foreign cuisine for a prolonged period of time, a sudden and overwhelming craving for rice inevitably surfaces. Having spent several months in this world, I was fast approaching my limit. So I had been wanting to visit Tarai, which was rumored to have something similar to rice, for quite a while. Strangely, Guildmaster Rio readily gave us permission to make the trip, so I decided to take advantage of the opportunity. Rather than simply staring at scenery along the way, I was using the time to teach Ephil how to read. Although she'd experienced enormous growth in a wide variety of areas ranging from combat to chores, she still had quite a ways to go with reading, writing and other academic studies. "Kelvin. There's a river. A river is flowing over there," Sarah cried. "What, you want to go fishing?" "What's fishing?" "Ah. Let's find a day to go fishing together after we get to Tarai." Sarah, who had her head sticking out of the back part of the wagon, was having a blast gazing at the passing landscape. For a while now, she had been making a big fuss about every little thing she spotted. Aside from my desperate search for rice, there was one other reason we were heading to Tarai. In keeping with our promise to Victor, we were giving Sarah a chance to see more of the world. This girl had lived a life so sheltered that she didn't even know what fishing was, but she was now traveling and thoroughly enjoying the sights. Surely she would learn and experience a lot on this trip. "Sarah, lass, you sure seem to be having fun." As it turned out, Gerard was bad with wagon travel. Soon after we set out from Parth, he had retreated into my magic pool. Supposedly, all the bouncing hurt his hips while he was materialized. There wouldn't have been any problem if he had remained a spirit inside his armor. But as it had been a while since he'd had a body, he wanted to enjoy the feeling of it for as long as he was summoned. Just as our wagon entered a narrow part of the road that was closely flanked by trees, Sarah suddenly turned towards me. "Oh right, Kelvin. Something's been bothering me for a while." "What is it? You do realize that we're secretly being watched, right?" We sure are." Oh come on, boss. Please don't frighten me." Our driver was trying hard to laugh it off as a joke, but my presence sensing was indeed picking up something. To be more specific, there were a total of 12 people surrounding our wagon, matching our pace so as to maintain a discreet distance from us. Some of them even possessed concealment at a pretty high rank. We're not just saying it to frighten you. Darn it, they're so disturbing that I can't focus on enjoying the scenery. Sarah was in possession of even more detection skills than I was, likely having been urged to invest in them as one of her doting father's ideas for helping her to protect herself. Wait, so are they bandits? Hard to say. And it is rumored that bandits do indeed show up on this route. Boss, are you still reading even in this situation? That maid of yours seems really calm about everything too. Our abilities had, of course, long passed the point where news of approaching bandits would cause us any concern. If I really had to name a problem, it would be that we had gotten a bit numb to our danger detection skill. And now that this matter had come up, Ephil and I also found ourselves too distracted to resume studying. Hey, Kelvin. No need to say it, I know what you mean. Oh, hey, looks like they're starting to make a move. 6 people wearing black stepped out from the side of the road, stopping right in front of our wagon. The rest stayed at the back, continuing to remain concealed. Clearly, they had no intention of letting us leave. "You in the wagon, stop right where you are." To my surprise, the announcement was in a woman's voice. All 6 of the highwaymen had weapons tightly gripped in their hands. "Oh. Boss, we've hit the jackpot this time. There are 2 beauties in here." "Really? Let me see." "Oh ho, you're right, they look like they'd fetch quite a pretty penny. Chief will be delighted." The woman and the men who seemed to be her subordinates looked at us, looked at Ephil and Sarah, as if they were evaluating a product. Is this going to be a repeat of the incident with Prince Tabura? Who are you guys? Do you realize that you are inflicting this outrage upon a wagon with adventurers on board? Our driver raised his voice as if to intimidate them. Contrary to what he expected, however, the bandits responded by laughing so hard that they were soon clutching their stomachs. Bawahaha. Adventurers, you say? Of course we knew that. You guys are coming from Parth, right? The town that's famous for having the continent's weakest guild, the guild that doesn't have a single member ranked B or higher. We are Black Wind, the gang whose very name causes grown men to piss themselves. Rank C adventurers are nothing but chaff to us. Ha, so they're mistaking us for rank C or lower. At the very least, they seem fully confident about beating 3 adventurers of that rank. But for them to know where we came from, they must have had an eye on our wagons since early in the journey. Black Wind? Hasn't that bandit ring been wiped out already? Well, okay, he's not quite pissing himself, but it looks like our driver has indeed heard of them. Boss, please handle this carefully. Black Wind is a bandit gang that became notorious about a year ago. From what I heard, they were so strong that even rank C adventurers couldn't do much against them. But if memory serves, they should have been destroyed by a rank A party, so I'm not quite sure what's going on here. That does sound suspicious. Sorry, what did you just say, boss? Oh, nothing, don't worry about it. In any case, it seems like we won't be going anywhere until we resolve this situation. Right?